This is a picture of supermodel Gina Richero. If she were to be convicted of a crime, do you believe that she should be sent to a male prison? Well, Gina is transgender. This means that she was born a male but now identifies as a female. Many people assume that you can tell if a person is transgender based on how they look. These assumptions are often incorrect. How many of you thought that this was a picture of a naturally born male? Prisons must keep inmates segregated by gender and have always used the gender that a person was born with to decide where they are housed. This is not always the safest option for those that identify with the gender opposite of what they were assigned at birth. Studies have proven that LGBT inmates are more likely to be sexually assaulted than heterosexuals. A study of federal and state prisoners conducted by the Bureau of Justice Statistics in 2008 found that among 1,316,000 heterosexual inmates, only about 1.3% reported being sexually victimized at the hands of another inmate. 2.5% reported being victimized by a staff member. The same study reports that among only 114,300 inmates with a non-heterosexual orientation, 11.2% of them reported being sexually victimized by another inmate, and 6.6% of them reported they were victimized by a staff member. This is Ashley Diamond. The Georgia Department of Corrections denied Miss Diamond the male-to-female hormone therapy that she was taking for 17 years prior to her arrest. This caused her to suffer mentally and physically during her incarceration. Miss Diamond sued the Georgia Department of Corrections after she was denied a safe environment and the medical treatment needed to treat her gender dysphoria. According to the lawsuit, Miss Diamond said she loudly declared herself to be a transgender woman during intake and was still assigned to a high-security prison for men where she was almost immediately punched, stomped, raped, and knocked unconscious by 6 gang members. Miss Diamond was also assaulted and raped numerous times by other inmates while she was incarcerated in a series of high-security prisons for violent male offenders over the course of 3 years. She was also placed in solitary confinement by prison officials for supposedly pretending to be a woman. Miss Diamond was released from prison on August 31st, and several changes have been made to prisons not only in Georgia, but also nationwide as a result of her lawsuit. One common practice in prisons is to house LGBT inmates in solitary confinement cells as a means to keep them safe from general population. While in solitary confinement, the inmates have no contact with other people and are typically kept inside their cell for about 23 hours out of the day. Researchers that have found that extreme isolation is unhealthy and can cause more extensive mental illness to individuals. A complete lack of social contact makes it difficult to distinguish what is real from what is not. Many inmates that have been housed in solitary confinement have become psychotic and suicidal. This punishment should be used for the offenders that are extremely dangerous to other inmates and staff. It should not be the way that inmates are housed based on their sexuality alone. With the increasing social acceptance of homosexuality in America, more people are beginning to pay closer attention to the issues that homosexual individuals have been facing for years. This leads to more people advocating for their rights and bringing more attention to finding a solution for these issues. This acceptance has led many groups such as the American Civil Liberties Union and the Southern Poverty Law Center to bring more lawsuits against organizations for their discriminatory practices against the LGBT community. These lawsuits have made great victories on behalf of this group in our society. In recent years, more legislations have been developed in order to protect LGBT inmates. Courts have consistently found that gender dysphoria or gender identity disorder presents a serious medical need that may require inmates receive treatment to comply with the Eighth Amendment. One key piece of legislation is the Prison Rape Elimination Act. This act is the first United States federal law passed dealing with the sexual assault of prisoners. It was passed by Congress and signed into law in 2003. This act requires the development of national standards to prevent incidents of sexual violence in prisons, and it also makes prisons more accountable for the safety of inmates. Prison policies need to be improved and develop better options to accommodate the LGBT inmates in our prison systems in order to protect them from the discrimination and violence they face. Some prisons have attempted to resolve this issue in various ways. For example, one Los Angeles prison has created an entire wing devoted to housing gay and transgender men. Also, there is a prison in Italy that solely houses transgender inmates. With the collaboration of various organizations, such as legislators, sociologists, and psychologists, better alternatives can be created for housing LGBT inmates. It will require the various needs of this inmate population to be reviewed and deliberated on by various professionals from different fields in order to develop the best option not only for the inmates, but also for the correctional facilities. The impact I intend to make is to bring the issues that this group of individuals are facing while they are incarcerated to the attention of the public. With a greater awareness, it can lead people to advocate for a change in policies regarding transgender inmates, creating a safer environment for them.